Chapter 5. Mademoiselle, hasn't he come yet? From? That boy who puts the black coat over his shoulders. I don't know, Clotilde. I don't think I saw him today. I always see him sitting in the coffee in front of us, staring at this door for a long time. Maybe he's crazy. Then a young, beautiful-looking man approached the ticket office worker, through the door on which was written in large letters, "Entry prohibited." As soon as old Clotilde saw him, she took her broom and hurried to her work, whispering, "The president." "Who is crazy, Susie?" That man said it, after he gave the beautiful girl a look that no one else understood the meaning of. She shrugged her shoulders and did not answer, so the man insisted in severity and anger, "I told you, I want to know who is crazy." She raised her head and looked at him with wide turquoise eyes, adorned with long blonde eyelashes, then said in a voice whose meaning only he could understand, "You are not the one I am referring to, anyway." "Who then?" "Another boy we were talking about." "A boy? I don't know who he is yet. He used to come to this window every day, wait until the people had dispersed and the place was empty, and then he would come up to me and say, 'Bonjour, mademoiselle.' I return my greeting to him, and he stands and looks at me silently, then moves, says, 'Au revoir, mademoiselle,' and goes about his business." "A fan, without a doubt." The young president said it in a strange tone. Susie immediately answered him, "Rather, he is crazy. That is all I believe." "I thought you meant me." "You? No, my dear Henry. You are the mind itself. You are wiser than you should be." "Ah, sir. It has become clear to me that you are wiser than I imagined. Congratulations to you." Susie said it casually, and with some suppressed anger. Henri also knocked, his hand fiddling with the ticket book on the edge of the window, and a long silence passed between them, which was broken by Clotilde, the cabin keeper, shouting from the inside of a cabin, "Monsieur Henri, is there a place for the orchestra?" Henry took the opportunity to get out of his position, hurried to the theatre hall, reached the middle of the rows of seats and shouted, "You fool, Clotilde. Tonight's novel, the al-Hakim. Do you want al-Hakim without music? Return the orchestra immediately, you hag." Silence returned to the place, and Susie wanted to return to reciting the story of al-Hakim, which she used to occupy her free time reading whenever the burden of work eased. But something in her head prevented her from the book, so she began to look around the space without focusing her gaze on anything in particular, and she glanced casually at the marble statue of Voltaire in front of her in the hall, and on his lips was that famous sarcastic smile, so she moved her eyelashes slightly as if she was taken aback by something of him. But she held herself together, shrugged her shoulders, and took out an elegant box and a small mirror from the handbag next to her, and began to paint her beautiful face. Until Clotilde appeared, saying angrily, "Did you hear his insults?" Susie said indifferently, "Who?" The old woman, leaning on her broom, replied, "The president. Didn't you see his bad behavior today? There is no doubt that something has happened between you, Mademoiselle Susie. His behavior will not get worse until the day the matter is between you." Susie sighed lightly, smiled half-heartedly, and did not answer. Mohsen sat in his seat from the cafe in front of the Odeon, drinking a cup of coffee mixed with milk, and contemplating those great columns on which the magnificent theatre was built, and his eyes did not leave the door. It is as if it is the door of paradise, and he does not know if he is from inside it, or is he destined to remain without it among the straying people. His contemplations were interrupted only by the movement of a boy and a girl from Paris embracing behind him, and kissing each other openly, as the Parisians are accustomed to doing. They are not filled with a parole or a sergeant. Mohsen visited them with his head, not satisfied with emotions being put on such a show, in the streets and roads, so she becomes vulgar, and she is the one who should be kept in the chests just as pearls are kept in the shells. While Mohsen was contemplating, a palm had been placed on his shoulders. He turned and saw André smiling at him and saying, "What are you doing here in front of the Odeon, you wayward boy? You're always behind me like this. What are you doing here? Answer and hurry." Mohsen hesitated a little, then pointed to the stage, saying, "I am contemplating the structure of art." André winked with one eye and said, "Rather, say the structure of love. They are both one is present in the other, like the light in a lamp. Is she here? She is here, and the novel, al-Hakim, is here. Ah. How beautiful it is, and what a beautiful novel, in prose and music. Here in this temple, her image has blended in my mind with the echo of the tunes of Antia Mezzo and the Farandole dance. Haven't you given her a bouquet of flowers or, Hubigan, perfume yet? No flowers, no perfume. She is too precious to me and too dangerous for me to offer her anything, or to speak to her. Surprise appeared on the face of the young Frenchman, and he imagined that he was hearing riddles and hieroglyphs that he could not understand, so he shrugged his shoulders, comforting himself, this is undoubtedly Eastern philosophy. And how did you find me? And why are you here at this time, when work in the factory is in full swing? No factory today, no foot or leg. Didn't you read the noon newspapers? The workers in the Courbevoie factories have gone on strike. We have all gone on strike until they promise to consider our demands. As for finding you and knowing your location now, it is not a problem. Andre smiled maliciously, then extended his hand to his friend, saying, now, let us go. To where? We attend a workers' meeting. What about me and the workers? A short walk. Picnic? Oh, sir. Some of your kindness and generosity. Tell me your truth. When will you have mercy on me from this what you call a short walk? It's always a pleasure for you to go with me. And I am always happy for you to go alone. Now leave me where I am. As you know, I am not one of the unemployed workers. You see that I have a job. In which factory? Here. The boy pointed to the stage with his hand, and Andre laughed and said, you call this work? Ah? A Oriental lover who spends his days dreaming in coffee, while his beloved is 2 steps away. The boy heard this from his French friend, so he stood up, and an image of the past flashed in his head like lightning. He saw Haj Shihata coffee in the Sayyida Zainab neighborhood in Cairo. He recalled his Yuzbashi uncle, Salim, sitting for long hours at her door, looking at the house of his beloved, Sonia, hoping to catch a glimpse of the color of her green silk dress behind the mashrabiyah. Mohsen immediately realized that he was now making the same Odeon street that Salim had been making on Saloma Street for years. Is it a coincidence? Or is this something in his blood? He doesn't know, however, he feels a force forcing him to sit near her place, and he loves this proximity for its own sake. Mohsen returned and sat down, and the Frenchman's eyes widened in astonishment and shouted, can't you leave this place? You see with your own eyes that I cannot. Andre pointed to the teacher with his finger, why don't you go to her and talk to her about what you have in mind? Are you crazy? I'm the crazy one. The Frenchman said it while looking at Mohsen, and he could not find words to describe him, and the boy went on to say, oh my dear Andre. There is still a little realization in my head, enough to at least make me understand that such beauty, in a window open to the public, cannot remain until now waiting for the arrival of this wayward tramp that is me. You want to say that she has lovers? 1,001 lovers, and they may not be counted. Everyone around her loves her, atoms, space vermin, and stars in the sky. Enough imagination and poetry. Speak in reality. Did they tell you that she loves someone in particular? Sir, she is a beloved lover. How did you know? By physiognomy. Mohsen ran out of patience from the Frenchman's chest and shouted, physicism, you bastard. And this is her door, and this is her sitting, I can almost see her from here. I swear I have never seen anything like this in my life. Mohsen did not care about his shouting, nor did he show any movement. However, he sent a look to the stage door, and the spectre of Salim came to him again. Today, he is the husband of one of his relatives, and the father of 2 young sons. He held a military position in the Coast Guard, and became a plump body with a respectable belly. As for his straight mustaches, they had faded over time, and the life of that man had taken on the familiar form in the life of millions of these human ants, and his hours of sitting in Shihata's coffee shop were gone. It had no visible impact on his life. Time, with its overwhelming sea, overwhelmed the dreams of the past, and the image of Sunny disappeared from Salim's head. However, if he searched in the depths of his heart today for the best hours of his life, he would not find anything sweeter or more delicious than those moments which were wasted while sitting for a long time, between despair and hope. Pointing your eyes to a sunny window. That bittersweet waiting for something beautiful that one hopes will happen but will not happen, it is all the higher feelings that the Salim heart, and every heart on this earth, has achieved. What does it matter about the meeting that takes place after that between two lovers? The heartbeat that shook Salim's entire being, every time he caught the imagination of a woman behind a mashrabiyah, and that long patience over coffee waiting for this imagination, it is all the beauty of love. Mohsen went into his thoughts and memories, then he forgot André, and realized the French despair, so he raised his hand in a nervous movement. No. Really no. I cannot spend my life sitting like this. Time is something that you Easterners do not know, and you do not care about it. We have been freed from it. André stared at Mohsen carefully, then shouted, "Oh, you Easterners! Are you fools or are you wise? This is what is confusing. That's our genius.